Working in customer support is never easy. Working in tech support? I can't even imagine. Welcome to this episode of Tales from Tech Support. Our first tale is from Big Groove Box. This happened this morning, about 30 minutes ago. I told a friend who is also in IT and he suggested I share it here. For context, I work in IT at a college in the States. I had a call to go to a room because a professor reported not being able to connect to a projector. I get there and he starts giving me a lecture in front of his class about how the system needs to be easy enough for the lay history professor to operate. And we're not doing enough for the poor history professors who make like $300K a year. A guy literally said, "Us poor history teachers." Then dude turns the computer on and the projector just turns on automatically and it goes to the input automatically. And then he's like, "Oh, but the sound is messed up too." Spends like 5 minutes fumbling to find a specific video to put on and lo and behold, it just works. Like, bro, if you or anyone else can't figure out how to use this system, it is a problem for your dean, not me. Edit. A couple people mentioned I probably overstated their income by a bit. They make closer to roughly 150K probably, but it's still quite a bit more than I make, I assure you. I feel like any kind of tools that any teachers, professors, whatever would be using for their classroom, it would probably be handy for them to actually know how to operate them and do it properly. Our next tale is by Joe Don Fan. We had a contract to supply 3 techs plus a supervisor on site at the HQ of a large international corporation. I was one of the techs. It wasn't a bad gig, except for that one attorney who insisted we fix an HP LaserJet. This was before personal laser printers. Pretty sure it was an LJ3 that had been dropped and had it bent everything. I turned him over to the supervisor and that's pretty much that story. Except for the part that no, we didn't fix that printer. I should also mention that this supervisor was hired for this position, and as part of the deal to hire him, he was being given formal CNE training. Ain't gonna lie, this rubbed us 3 techs, who were doing the training on our own, pretty bad, but he wasn't really a bad guy. It did take us a bit to warm up to him, and the story I'm about to tell helped. This story involves a user who needed a new mouse about every 5 or 6 weeks. It would just stop working and, of course, she had no idea what was happening to it. This was back in the mid-90s, folks, and mice with the ball and other moving parts and stuff, weren't as cheap as they are now. One day I was helping a user near her, and every so often I'd hear a bang or a thud or a smash coming from Mouse Lady's desk. This was an open floor plan department, and I saw what was happening. Every so often she'd pick up the mouse and pound it on her pad. The look on my face must have said something because the person I was helping said, "She does that all day." I went back to our little corner of HQ and was telling the guys about it, when the supervisor told us to let us know the next time she needs a new mouse. He'll take care of it. And he did. He took her a new mouse one day and returned with a disassembled mouse, saying something like we shouldn't be hearing from her in a while. Of course, we asked what he did and he showed us. He pointed at the logic board for the mouse and pointed at some random component, grinning. "See that value on the impact capacitor?" he told us. "You only see something that high on something that had a couple bricks dropped on it." I've been dying to try that on someone since, but alas, no one is in the habit of slamming their mouse on their desk anymore. It really makes you wonder if after this the lady learned a lesson and no longer ever slammed another mouse. This next tale is from HollowPoint 357. One of my help desk guys was doing a RAM upgrade for a non-critical computer. He was sure to have it unplugged and ground himself to the desktop, had the motherboard level, etc. Swapped out the RAM, no video. Reseated, no video. Placed in original RAM, no video. He came and got me at that point. We tried a few different sticks, no video. Took out the RAM completely, no video, no post. Reseated CMOS, no video. Looked for old GPUs we had on hand, nothing with a form factor that fit the machine. This is at our workbench now, so new monitor, new video cables, new power cable, different physical station. Out of desperation, I figured, it's onboard video. Let's take a peek at the CPU. Took off the cooler. There's little to no thermal paste on it. Okay, not good, but likely unrelated to the current issue. I noticed some dust bunnies around the edge of the CPU, so we picked it up to inspect it and it seemed fine. For good measure, and kind of without thinking, I said, let's blow some air over the CPU contact in case moving the machine, somehow, lodged some dust over the contacts and is fucking with the video. So he held it back a pretty long distance and gave it one quick spurt, and the plastic stick shot out and eviscerated some of the pins on the board. I think movement or static must have killed video on the board somehow. It's also a pretty ancient machine, due for an upgrade anyway, but I would have liked to figure out for sure what the issue could have been. It's gotta suck trying to deal with something and just not being able to figure out what the hell is wrong with it, but it might just be the fact that the system was so old, it definitely was on its last leg and it finally gave out. And our final tale is by 7th Core. So one of my friends was complaining a bit that she's running low on storage space on her laptop. It's an HP Omen 17 and she had a 1TB hard drive and a 1TB solid state drive. I found her a 5TB Seagate Barracuda for $120. She ordered it and we waited till it arrived. Now, some of you might know where this is going. A standard 2.5-inch hard drive is 9mm tall, but the 5TB one is 15mm. I didn't think of that at the time and was in for a bit of a shock when I opened the packing for it. I opened her laptop, opened the new hard drive packing, and guess what? The mounting bracket didn't fit. It was a rubber bracket with mounts that go in the screw holes, and then you slide it in with the hard drive at an angle of about 45 degrees and then push it down. The SATA and SATA power connector was on a ribbon cable. The laptop chassis had enough room for the 15mm 5TB hard drive, but no way of mounting it. So what do? Grab a spare Ethernet cable and cut off its insulation. Connect the hard drive to the laptop and put it inside, and stuff the insulation around it. It was a perfect fit. I even turned the dang thing around and banged on it from the top with my hand to see if it would fall out, and it didn't even budge. I took a bit of the cable insulation and put it on top of the hard drive so the bottom cover of the laptop would be squishing on it a bit, and that was that. Do-it-yourself jank hard drive mount status achieved. She was happy. I was relieved. The hard drive is working still to this day without problems. And I had another funny tale to tell. To be fair, this sounds like something I would do, because if I ordered something wrong but I knew it could potentially fit with slight modifications or something, I would definitely try. I'm glad that this worked out though, and that the hard drive's still working to this day. Alright, that's enough tales for the day. Well, that wraps up this episode of Tales from Tech Support. If you liked the video, please drop a like, share my content on all of your social media, subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure to hit that bell so you're notified every time I upload, and drop a comment down below. It really helps with the algorithm and helps new people find my channel. Thanks for watching, thanks to my patrons, have a great day and stay safe out there.